hip flexion isometric hold for connective tissue architecture, which we're going to be doing with a band. At the end, we are going to get into some HIMAs and to some initial sort of reactive strength stuff. But all we're going to do is going to get into hip flexion. So I'll cover this really quickly because you definitely would have done these ones already, just to make sure that when I do this, if I let my hips kind of tuck under and curl my spine, like I can go as far as I need, I'm never going to get any hip flexion, any stretch here. What I want to make sure that I'm doing in this position, get my heel up, and I'm going to rotate my hips back this way as far as I can, really presenting to whoever the sexy person is behind me. Oh wait, that's me. And then if I want a bit more stretch, I'm just almost going to trying to get my belly button down to my thigh. I'm not getting my chest down. That's just going to flex my spine. So I want to get into a stretch, and I want to feel this pretty much in the middle of my muscle belly and my hamstring. So get to this position. But you're going to get to this position with a band. So obviously I've got that attached up there. All I've got to do is obviously put my foot through there, get into this position, get into that same position here, and then I'm having to hold this against the band tension. Now, you can do this with a red band, you can do this with a purple band, you can do this, whatever band that you need. When you first start this, you'll be wanting I'll just take the tension off the band, you'll be wanting an intensity of about 30 to 40%. You're going to be doing it for about 2 minutes. So here, if I hold this down, I'm just pushing down enough to keep my heel on the floor, not pushing in or into the bench as hard as I can. I'm just enough to fight the resistance of the band. To be honest, I'd probably need a purple band. You probably might, you probably won't. So it depends how obviously high the bench is, but just get the right resistance so that you're holding on about 30 to 40%. What you'll find if you do it at 30, 40% is you probably won't be able to do it for 2 minutes to start with. You might find that you find that 30 to 40%, and you feel that tissue fatigue after, say, whatever, 30 seconds. If that's the case, have a rest, but don't come out of position. So the way you have a rest is I just put my hand on the top of my leg here. Now I'm still in the stretch, but I'm kind of giving that tissue a bit of a rest as well. And then when you feel rested enough, just take the hand off really slowly and then go again. And then just accumulate 2 minutes worth of work. Now, if you happen to be getting into the HIMAs and or the reactive strength HIMAs, you'll be doing the same accumulated work, but you'll be doing a work to rest ratio, so 3 on, 1 off, 5 on, 1 off, that kind of thing. So all that means is, as I get down to this position, if I've got my hand here, I'm not really working. As I take my hand off, I'm now doing the work. So if, let's say I'm doing a 5 second to 1 second ratio, what I'll do is I'll get into this lengthened position, I'll hold it there for 5 seconds, put my hand on there for 1 second, and then take it off for 5 seconds. That way I'm keeping a consistent resistance here. When you first start though, you'll be getting a ramp up time of 1 second. So what that means is you do work for 5 seconds, put your hand on here to have a bit of a rest for 1 second, and rather than just take your hand off, you just take the pressure off that hand over the space of a second. Do 5 seconds worth of work, hold on for 1 second, and then release over the time of that 1 second time, or whatever it is that your program says. Your progression through this isn't, the intensity will stay the same, the resistance will stay the same, but you'll progress by getting rid of the 1 second and just going from 0 to whatever intensity. So here, hold on, resting for 1 second, and then as I let go, I'll just let go really quick. Do that for 5 seconds, have a rest, let go. And that's it. What you'll be doing there is you're teaching this tissue to absorb force fast. Initially, you're teaching it to absorb force over the space of 1 second. Then you're teaching that tissue to absorb that force instantly. Important that we do that 1 second first, because this is something that almost everyone will completely underestimate and overestimate what their tissue can do. We think we can do it, we do it, and then one of the main reasons we get injuries, like all tissue gets injured because more force was put on the tissue than the amount of force the tissue can generate, but that can be via total load, or it can just be because the load is too fast. We always underestimate that because it's something that most people never ever train. Anyway, that's it. Enjoy.